A newspaper I saw just months ago showed that there is an ongoing civil war at Syria fought between two factions, the Al-Assad's government and the rebels who opposed their rule. The causes seem to have happened in the early spring of 2011, where small crowds of people gathered on the streets to peacefully start because 15 school children were reported to be arrested and tortured for writing anti-government graffiti. The protests were peaceful to begin with, calling for the release of the children, democracy, and greater freedom for people in the country. However, on March 18, 2011, the government responded with uses of deadly forces, opening fire and killing 4 protesters. The following day, they shot at mourners at the victim's funeral, killing another innocent. People were shocked and angry at the unrest spread to the other parts of the country. The people originally wanted to have democracy and greater freedom, but once the government forces opened fire on the people, the protesters demanded that President Bashar al-Assad resign and step down from his political power. But the president refused to step down because he feared stepping down would cause political instability and purge the country into chaos. Instead, he offered to make some changes to change the way the country runs, but it was already too late, for he had already lost the confidence of the people. The rebels took up arms and began fighting the government, but these rebels are not united and are divided by groups of rebels, fighters, political parties, and people living in exile. There is at least 1,000 groups which consists of 100,000 fighters. To make things worse, many terrorist groups have joined the conflict, but it was ISIS, the Islamic State in Syria and Iraq, who took the stage. They are a radical militant group who use violence against anyone who opposes their extremist views. They moved into eastern Syria and in the chaos of war started gaining land and power. Chemical weapons have also been used in the war, although it is unknown which faction actually used it, but its effects are devastating. Although these conflicts has caught the attention of peacekeeping organizations like the UN and superpower countries like America and the British, many such countries are afraid of destroying their relationships with the Russians, whom have strong ties with the Al-Assad government. The conflict has come to a halt as neither the government forces nor the rebels are unable to defeat each other. In the end of the conflict, more than 3 million people have fled Syria and now live in poor condition, which is one of the most recent largest refugee movement in history. Also, another 6.5 million people, who are half of them children, have been forced to leave their homes in Syria because of the rebels and the government's conflict. Although conflict has stopped, both the government and the rebels are forced to fight ISIS. Lots of countries have joined to help the humanitarian crisis, supplying such as food and emergency supplies, but the US and the Britain has stopped sending all other support as they fear these supplies may be stolen by rebel groups who are not supported by the government. Although I do not agree with the Syrian government's harsh actions and policies towards the people, the rebels should not have taken things into their own hands and should have continued their attempt for peace and democracy through a peaceful protest. This conflict have many refugees suffered harsh living conditions, and many in Syria have lost their homes and children. Also, terrorist groups like ISIS would not have easily conquered small Syria territory, which is a major problem for the government and rebel alike. Discussions are still taking place between powerful nations to work out alternate ways to help Syria achieve peace.